Have you ever wondered how to capture those stunning car shots with the perfect motion blur, where the car is sharp, but the background is a blur of speed? Whether you're at a racetrack or just want to elevate your street photography, car panning is a game-changing technique that every photographer should have in their toolkit. In this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know from the best lens choices to the exact camera settings to help you nail the perfect panning shot every time. Let's dive in and start capturing motion like a pro. Hi, I'm Dimitrios, and if you're passionate about drones, photography, and everything in between, then you're in the right place. I create a series of videos breaking down large topics into smaller ones, making you feel less overwhelmed. So subscribe for future videos. Now, the first thing I want to talk about here when car panning is lens choice. Now, my go-to when I'm doing car panning is the Sigma 60mm f1.4. I love this lens for car panning because one, it's a fast lens, it goes all the way to f1.4, so it's great in low light as well. It's also wide enough so when you are panning cars, at least you have room for error and you can always crop into your image to get the shot. If you have a tight lens, it's going to be very difficult to pan because you have to make sure you're following at the same speed. Now, if budget is tight, you can just stick to a kit lens. This is how I started out. I was using my Sony 18-135 and it was perfectly fine. Now, you can use zoom lenses, so I have here the Sigma 24-70. One last thing, because I almost forgot, is that whenever I am car panning, and this isn't necessary or anything, is that I enjoy adding a mist filter on top, and this is Polar Pro short stash filter here. This is a circular polarizer and a mist filter, so I just add this at the front of my lens. Not only does it protect the glass of my lenses, but I can get that cool mist effect as well. Now let's talk about the settings for your camera when doing car panning photography. Now firstly, put your camera into shutter priority mode. This way you can control the shutter speed of your camera, as this will affect the blur in the background. Now if you're starting out, you can put this at 1/50. This should be good enough. However, ideally I like to shoot at 1/25, and technically these are the video frame rates because everyone talks about shooting 24, 25 frames per second. So this is why I put it at 1/25. That being said, you can go as low as 110, especially if the subjects are slow moving. For instance, a bus pulling out, or you're trying to capture a tram in slow motion. Now, the other thing that you need to consider here is the burst modes. You need to put your camera into burst mode because you're going to be taking a lot of pictures as you sweep and pan the car shot. If you have it in single shot mode, it's not going to be enough, and you may even not capture the car in focus. Another recommendation is also to put your ISO to auto ISO. I normally cap this around 800. However, if you're shooting in low light conditions and you don't have a fast lens, you may need to have to bump this up to 1600 or more. Also, if there's any other ambient lights that you need that you can help assist you. On the subject of lighting, if it's a really bright sunny day, and maybe your aperture is already closed, but it's not closed enough, you may need a variable ND filter as well. What I would do is I'll link some of these variable NDs in the description box down below. And one last thing that you need to think about is your focus area. Now, normally I just keep this on wide because if you are panning, it's pretty difficult to judge the speed of a car sometimes. And if you have, for instance, center point, and your car's on either left or right at that, then maybe you have missed it and you're not nailing your focus. Whereas wide, at least it will give you the opportunity. My suggestion is play around with the different focus modes and find the one that suits for you. If you have a newer camera that has AI features like the Sony a6700 like I'm using now, you can turn on the car detection feature, and this will help detect your subject, and you can use the function mode as well to help keep focus of your car as you're panning. Next, let's talk about finding the right location. Now, anywhere on street level is perfect. Ideally, you want to be somewhere where cars are actually moving, so on a straightway. Now, if you're in North America, intersections are really good because that way there'll be a lot of action on those intersections. So not only are you panning one way, but you can pan another way too. So if you just stand on a corner, you have two options to pan cars with. And this is what I used to do, and I used to favor intersections a lot, as it made it very easy to pan cars. I also wouldn't worry too much about power lines or anything in the background because this is going to be blurred anyway. As you pan, the car will be in focus, the background will be blurred. So I'm currently with Sava's Pictures here, and we're both car panning. And this is actually a wonderful location. It's actually unbelievable. The trick is to be at the same speed when you're panning cars and just match that motion. And the AI features on the 6700 really help. Now, another suggestion when finding the right location is just try walking around, try different aspects. If one spot's not working, move to another spot where there's more action to capture some panning cars. Ideally, through my findings, when I've been panning cars, you want to be looking for a nice aesthetic background, especially if it's at night and you have some nice LEDs, then these will blur out lovely with the bokeh balls as you're panning car photography. And one more thing, try elevations just like here. Try and getting a different vantage point. You can still pan cars and you'll get a different look as well. Now, at the end of the day, car panning is all about practice. So just get out there and start panning. Now, you can either use the LCD screen on your camera and just follow the car as it goes along, or you can use the viewfinder of your camera if you want some more stability. There is no right or wrong here. Just do what you're comfortable with and what's going to give you the best results. Now, ideally, every time you pan, especially in the beginning and you're trying to warm up to try and find your settings, review the shots that you have. Obviously, you're going to have multiple shots in burst mode, so just scroll through if it's in focus or not. If not, change your settings and try again. And keep doing that until you find the right settings, and then just stick with that and just pan cars. And it doesn't really matter which cars. Ideally, if you get a nice car, even better. Just remember Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. So it's the same principle. Keep practicing and you'll get better at nailing your car panning shots. Hey guys, just taking a break from editing, and while I'm getting ready for our Sunday barbecue, I wanted to add to this video. After filming the A-roll for the car panning video, I wasn't happy with the shots that I took. I took a few, but what I did is I met up with my friend Sava, and I had much more success with my Sigma 24-70, even though I prefer the Sigma 16. I just didn't have it with me then. And I then switched my focus area, even though I had it on wide and that works fine, I put it to tracking focus, and that just worked even better because the AI features on the 6700 are incredible. So yeah, the images came out much better, much easier to car pan, had much more success that day. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is that this technique isn't specific to just cars. You can pan anything. You can pan bicycles, motorbikes, planes. I even tried out panning my drone, which was much harder because the drone's much smaller, it's gray, it blends in very well, even though I managed to pull it off. And I even tried panning with the DJI Air 3, but I think I need to figure that out a little bit more before I show you that, because that was interesting. But I managed to pull off a couple. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about editing your car panning photos. Now, obviously, you're going to have a lot of photos because you're shooting in burst mode. So ideally, open a folder, dump them all in there, and then just start going through and mark the ones that are the sharpest. You may want to keep the blurry ones to use as an intro, just like as I did with this video. However, most of the time, if you don't want to take up space, just delete them and keep the sharpest ones. Now, recently, I've been editing my photos with my presets, and I have specific ones for car panning as well, which I've just released on my website. What I'll do is I'll put a pinned comment down below, and from now until the next 30 days, and probably extend it as well, there is 25% off this preset pack, as well as all the other presets that I have on my website. However, if you prefer to edit and color grade yourself, just open up Lightroom and just tailor it to your liking. Ideally, I like to mask my subject out and darken the background and then brighten the subject. So it's almost doing the complete opposite. I hope this video has given you some valuable insights into mastering car panning photography, whether it's choosing the right lens, dialing in the perfect settings, or refining your shots in post. Keep practicing and you'll see your skills improve with every shot. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this video next, and don't forget to subscribe for drones, photography, and everything in between.
Oh man, oh.